Hey everyone, welcome back to Side Note with Nora. I made a little oopsie. Okay, in the previous video that I posted as part 1 is actually part 2. So I make all my slides, presentations before I film anything, and I of course just clicked the wrong one and was rolling with it. So everybody makes mistakes, everybody has those days. I'm so sorry, girlfriends. But we're gonna move back a little bit and get into more of the broader reasons of why we're talking about this subject. So this is the Mirror as a Weapon, Women's Self-Image as a Tool of Social Control, part 1. So throughout history, societies have shaped women's self-image, not simply through beauty ideals, but through laws, religion, economics, medicine, advertising, and social expectations. These standards often served broader systems of power by limiting women's autonomy, labor, political influence, or economic independence. So the question here is, who benefits when women are taught that they are never enough? It didn't start with Instagram. Beauty standards have always existed, but they changed through time. The ideal woman changes in every generation, but women are always expected to chase it. We're going to talk about different time periods and what their idea of the perfect woman was, and how it kept evolving and changing, and why women felt the need to adapt to it every time. So if beauty were objective, it wouldn't keep changing. Beauty standards have always changed, control has stayed. The ideal woman has changed hundreds of times throughout history, but women's bodies haven't. So maybe the problem was never women's bodies. If beauty standards are constantly changing, why do women keep chasing them? So in ancient Egypt, beauty has always been connected to social status, right? Women and men wore eyeliner, perfume, jewelry, wigs, and that would tell people that they were wealthy and powerful. And in ancient Greece, women had to be beautiful and modest. Don't forget obedient. Women's public roles were often limited in many Greek city-states, especially Athens, where respectable women were generally expected to remain in the domestic sphere. So beauty wasn't just appearance, it reflected moral expectations. Then in China, we have the foot binding, which we briefly touched on. So from the 10th century on for a while, basically they break all the bones in a woman's foot and tie them together. So she is in lifelong pain. Because of this, it's hard to walk even after it's healed. And the small feet were associated with beauty, refinement, higher social status, and marriage prospects. So it was seen as petite and beautiful, but they literally broke all the bones in their foot to do it and then couldn't walk. If something painful increases social acceptance, is it really a choice? I think many people feel they did not have a choice, right? What little girl wants to break all the bones in her foot? But your mom and your grandma and your auntie are telling you, you have to do this so you can get married. You know, let me know what you think. So in Europe, obviously, they wore lots of corsets, and they are often remembered as symbols of oppression, but the reality is more nuanced. So some women enjoyed wearing them while others felt pressured by fashion norms. Tight lacing could restrict breathing and movement. If you've ever worn a corset, you know. Though not every corset was worn that way. The important point isn't that every corset was harmful, it's that fashion often rewarded altering the body to fit the ideal. Fashion often rewarded altering the body to fit an ideal. Then we have the Victorian women who had to be delicate and pale and quiet and domestic and selfless. Illness was sometimes romanticized. Being frail became feminine. Women were expected to occupy less physical and often social space. Then in the 1920s, the ideal became a straight silhouette with short hair and a flatter chest and more youthful appearance on women. One generation earlier, curves had been celebrated. Nothing about women's bodies changed here. The standard did. The fashion standard, the beauty ideal changed. Now in the 1950s, curves have returned. Small waist, full bust type of thing, polished homemaker image. The same body that was too curvy in one decade became the ideal in another. Then we have the 1990s, where the dominant fashion look shifted towards very, very thin bodies, angular features, minimalist styling, and this era had been criticized for promoting unhealthy body ideals, if you can see. Now, how many beauty trends have gone viral this year alone? Standards now evolve at internet speed. So all of this was happening without technology, right? The beauty standard, the beauty ideal changed and women adapted to it. And so now how do we adapt to a changing beauty standard that is changing constantly in front of our eyes? So on Instagram and TikTok, we see everyone with their fillers and their Botox, and they're talking about Ozempic and losing weight and managing the weight loss. And you know, we have categories like clean girl and trad wife and office siren, and everyone is just trying to fit into a trend, but the trends keep moving. If beauty standards are constantly changing, why are women expected to keep changing with them? Because the goal was never for us to arrive. Every generation is handed a new version of the perfect woman. Thinner, curvier, younger, and more natural, more polished, more effortless, more everything. We spend our time, money, energy, and confidence chasing a finish line that moves the moment we get close. Read that over again if you need to. Maybe the standard isn't changing because women keep getting it wrong. Maybe the standard keeps changing because women are never supposed to feel like they've finally got it right. The perfect woman has been reinvented hundreds of times throughout history. If perfection were actually attainable, we would have reached it by now. Instead, the target keeps moving. Maybe perfection isn't the destination. Maybe chasing it is. So here's our timeline we talked about, where the standard changes, women change, the pressure remains, and that's the pattern that we keep repeating. The ideal woman changes, women's bodies do not, the pressure to change never disappears. And that's where I want to end my overview for part 1. Of course, you can go check out part 2, and I will have part 3 and 4 up in the coming week or so. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I hope you have an amazing day or night or whatever time it is where you're at. Ciao.